Matt, thank you so much. I literally can't see nothing on my screen, so I'm really hoping this has recorded.
Oh, I sat here swearing away, putting two fingers up.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Woodhouse Stories and Beyond with myself, Matthew Young, and Michael Woodhouse.
Hello.
Busy week.
Yes, really busy week. What about yourself?
Been too hot. I
Yeah,
will say that. I know it's easy to complain about the heat, but it's the humidity I complain about personally.
definitely. Because there's people in like obviously Spain, Australia who have this kind of heat all the time, of which they say, but they don't have the humidity that we have over here.
Yeah, we're not equipped for it. My driveway is starting to break up. You get the humidity in the air. It's just at night times. But anyway, let's move on from that because we're here for Woodhouse Stories, of course. So normally with this part, I normally ask you about one of your stories. Now we haven't communicated all week. We've just hopped on here today, so I'm going to kind of catch you out a little bit here today. Any plans for the future? Have you got anything set up in your mind that you're going to work towards?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. This is different. It's quite nice. So we're kind of currently just finished doing our final books for the next probably year. So the books out are the ones that we're going to be promoting for the next 6 to 12 months.
Do
So
we have any titles?
let me get it up. So The Promise Carried on Wings is one of the latest books out and actually written by myself and Leanne. So Leanne came up with this idea, um, and it's basically animals that are mistreated and how animals live in this world and they're scared of the human race and stuff like that, and they're flying over, birds are flying over, there's dogs that are around the world just being abused. Anyway, in this garden, an old couple who have a dog and a few other animals, but it's the main character in this household is a dog. Then you've got this group of birds who are flying around, and one bird just gets lost and finds its way into this garden and eats a load of the garden food and blah blah blah. And anyway, this old couple look after the bird and also the dogs, and then the lady's husband dies, and it they return the favor. So instead of flying away and leaving her to it to go live somewhere else, the birds and the dog all stay there, and they grow old with the lady, because
Sounds
she
good.
cared for them. And
Yeah,
it's quite an emotional book.
I think animals are a lot more connected than some people would like to. I'm not going to say would like to believe, that's the wrong word. Would actually believe. And I think you've got to have a few pets to really take that in. We can all have one pet and understand it. But I think if you had several pets, variations of pets, I suppose I'm going. Because as you say, you mentioned variations of animals there. Me myself, we've had a few variations of animals. My son and my wife, as you might know, might remember, they volunteered down at an animal rescue place very similar to the animals you're describing there, ones that are treated badly or not wanted. So, there's this area where they go to have a home and maybe get adopted. So did you say that's about a year's time roughly?
Yeah, so that's out now.
That's all right,
So
okay.
over the next 6 to 12 months, we're literally just promoting the books of which we've got now. The other ones of which we're promoting heavily right now is Surviving Anarchy, which we've discussed about before. It's just about a adult adventure land where a group of these hooligans, well, they're not hooligans, they're just normal people in this kind of London life where they're on drugs and pills and whatever, and they want to go somewhere where they can't be told off for doing drugs. Anyway, it turns out to be the worst thing ever, and it's a little bit
Not so
like,
much of a wonderland then.
yeah, basically it's a little bit like Saw meets um, meets Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and like in a weird way of it's the group investigating doing weird things, but Saw is kind of another part of it. The Auntie Son, where we're also promoting heavily, but all these books are also being part of the Woodhouse Stories collection, obviously, which is our biggest book out, and our now highest seller on Amazon. So yeah, we've sold two now. I'm joking.
Well, no, as you're going to say, obviously it's available from Amazon and Lulu, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lulu. And selected books are also in audio form on Spotify.
yeah, and of course you can find the Woodhouse stories on Facebook to follow the progress and links there. I'm sure you've got them all up there.
Oh, always updated, and on Instagram as well.
Yes,
It's
I see your little ones with the football and all the rest of it,
yeah. Well, we've because you know when you said about the future and for us the future is building our social media. So our future is now based on pausing the writing, starting the promoting, and building the platforms.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of work.
but
Yeah,
there's,
social media is very difficult to get yourself out there because it is the way of the world now. We like it or not, whether whoever agrees or doesn't agree with it, it is the way. It's not just moving forward, it's today. It's how people are making a living, it's recognition. Um, I
definitely
think in the past, I'm going to use Lab Baby here as an example. They started great fun and all this and just built themselves up. I can't necessarily say I agree with everything they're doing now. Um, now, I'm not going to say they forgot where they come from because they clearly haven't, but their videos to me have changed. Um, but obviously, those days are getting a lot harder to get the recognition out there. So we wish you luck with that, of course. So on to the next part, which is our weekly TV and movie reviews.
oh yes. Well, I've actually done some research on this, but it isn't to do with a film, and it's not to do with a TV program. So it's going to sound weird.
Yep.
Um, it's actually to do with the buying of ITV. So I don't know if you've heard about
Sky,
Sky.
yeah, Sky have purchased ITV, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's kind of my one of the only things I was going to bring up about that. But yeah, that's it's fascinating. And the other thing about me is football. Obviously, the World Cup is on tonight at 10, but when you're watching this, it's already been on. So fingers crossed, Matt. What's your predictions?
Um, I think most of the times I stick to like 2-0 or 2-1. So I've got to go with something like 2-1 again. It really just depends on obviously in keeping Haaland quiet and Odegaard sort of smothered a bit. But obviously the players will all fit. So fingers crossed. Yeah, it's Monday now, so we can predict the future. Actually, funny question here. Before I go into my bits about the TV and film. So we're in the UK. If someone in America, 6 hours behind, wherever, why can't we tell them the future?
See, actually, I actually looked up. I don't know what like what made me do
It's
it.
a
I
bit
was
off
looking up.
topic, I know.
Yeah, no, but I
It's
looked
just
up
fun
about.
what you hear sometimes.
But I was looking up. Can we travel back and forth in time? And it's actually a true thing that there's proof in the UK that because of the time zones, you really can travel in time, but you can't travel back in time.
Yeah, it's just like when you first hear it, you just kind of think, oh yeah. Sorry, my doorbell's gone. It's just one of those things that you kind of fit. When you first hear it, you're thinking it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense coming. But anyway, back to topic there. So the film reviews and TV. For my part, Moana. The obviously not the cartoon version. I've never watched the cartoon version, but we went to see the live action version. I know it has had bad reviews. Um, I enjoyed it. you got to take it for what it is. That's the thing with some of these films. It is an adaptation of an animation film, a bit of a sing-along film. So they're not exactly going to be like, special, apart from the odd one or two, which really can capture you, of course. I thought visuals were very good. Um, the only part I think was a bit OTT was when she first met him on the island. But again, I've not seen the cartoon, so this is straight from this film. I think he went, the song he sings then, what, not an issue of the song itself, but more the fact of like off topic because they added more like animation and stuff like that into it at that point. And because it was quite a long song, that particular area seemed to go on for a bit more. But generally, I enjoyed it. I didn't see. We all know Dwayne Johnson hasn't got hair. They're picking on that. Well, you're going to wear a wig. That's the character. That's tough luck. Get on with it. Why pick on it? It's like it. But
Was
generally, I
The
liked it.
Rock, sorry,
Yeah.
was The Rock in the live action? Because he was the voice in the
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is.
cartoon.
It is kind of like a passion of his film. This film is like a real passion of it because it's not just something he's been involved in for the animation, but because it is the Samoa area and things like that where he's come from. So it's great scenery, great camera work, and some very good visuals added to it.
So
And
the Rock is in it, is he?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
He's
wow,
the star. Yeah.
wow.
So on TV and streaming side, I'm actually going to applaud Prime again, which is unusual because most times it's Amazon or Disney to me. I think Prime's having a fantastic summertime, starting with obviously Clarkson's Farm, etc. The reason being for this time is I've been watching The Rise of Merlin. It's a bit confusing to begin with because they've got people in there you never seen or heard of before, but stick with it. It does get pretty good. I'm only up to episode 4, I think, at like 10 or so, I think. So yeah, if you're into that, that's worth watch. And I just noticed they've also added the housemaid, which is Sydney Sweeney, and that was only at the cinema probably 4 or 5 months ago. It's a film that built up, and that's now added onto there. And I think they're looking at doing the second one of that because it's for that. And I also believe we've spoke about this film a couple of times. Well, I have. I did believe that 22nd of July, Masters of the Universe will also be streaming. So I think Prime's having a really good summer. So yeah, that's the TVs and
Prime, aren't they the ones who had Last One Laughing? Jimmy
yes,
Carr.
yeah. I've never watched any of them. Yeah, Jack
Oh,
D.
you
Is it
need
Jack
to.
D?
Oh, honestly, if I think right, so back in the day, I'm very I like something that makes me laugh kind of thing, and nothing makes me laugh anymore because everything's turned woke. But anyway, this this a long time ago, the Impractical Jokers were like when Joe was still in it. It was amazing and made me laugh. And nothing when he left, it just died and nothing's made me laugh since. And then when Last One Laughing started, it's just got something that's it's amazing. Honestly, if you ever want a chance to just laugh out loud for no apparent reason at all, just give it a go.
Mm.
I really do
Yeah, I
recommend it.
think it's being renewed for another season. I think I saw or read
Yes, it has.
somewhere that has. So yeah, it's something I thought I'll give that a go. But again, just so much time in life, But yeah, no, I'll give it a go at some point. I don't know when, but I will. So obviously, at this point, we are now going to go on to sort of life topics type thing. So, how are you doing anyway? Because obviously, you've mentioned before about struggles in life.
Yeah,
Um, because it's kind of a funny time of year, the summertime to me, because you see, for my part, I can find summer a little bit hard, not just because of the hot weather, but you see so many people having lots of fun, booking holidays, going on holidays on their Facebook, and I would never object to anyone to having a nice time. That's clearly put that out there. it's what life should be. Trying your best. I know it's difficult for people financially or whatever reason. Um, Obviously, we got difficulty to do things as a family. Um, so it can be hard to see people do all these things that you wish to do, days out, holidays, all this stuff on Facebook. So how are you doing that, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from. So one of the biggest things that I've ever took from social media, it was when I was at my lowest, I kind of understood that everyone who uses social media is promoting their absolute best moments. But no one ever has absolute best moments 24/7. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. And you're going to share that time you went away to Butlins, which was last August, and now it's June the following year. And now, but because I'm seeing on Facebook, I'm like saying, oh, I wish I could go there, but they've been. And it's like, no, no, that's their time, and they've had a year away of doing nothing as well. And I think that's the pro and the con of social media. It's like you do always feel like if someone's going to use it for a platform to ask for help, there's always that Karen who goes, "Oh, this has been a shit day," and then you get so I go, "Are you okay, hun? Yeah, just one of those days." Don't put it on Facebook then.
Mm.
Either put just if you're going to use Facebook to share your thoughts, then use it as that because everyone's then going to be able to support. And I think some people just use it to promote their best days or their worst days. And yeah, I totally agree with you when you're at your kind of peak or your worst and you're looking at social media, everyone else's life will always seem better because of how it's like a
Yeah,
bubble.
but do you think those some of those posts can be exaggerated in the first place?
Yeah,
You know, obviously, you know, we can look at it and take a nice photo, or I can walk up the road and take a nice photo and look like I'm miles away, say, having a great day, when 2 minutes later I wasn't.
yeah,
But, you know, even holidays can be stressful. I spoke about holidays. Sometimes it's not the actual moment, it's being able to freely. And even freely is a loose word because even people might go on holiday, might struggle financially afterwards. Um, but I kind of find like, don't justify it to other people. You know, if you're having a nice time, then that's your business. And if you want to share something nice, at least it's better than talking rubbish on Facebook or trying to share moans and groans. You know, I'd much rather see someone's holiday photos, despite me thinking, "Oh, I wish I could do that, wish I was there," etc. etc. I'd rather see that than someone's blah 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 moan or name calling
yeah,
somebody else. You're thinking, "Oh, get a life," you know. I don't, you know, it's just boring now, you know. I'd
yeah.
much rather see that and
I
know that
think
someone else having a nice time. But I'd rather them be honest, saying having a fantastic time. When they're not, I'd rather just not post anything to begin with,
yeah,
really.
absolutely. And I think especially for like weddings, right? So it's it's really awkward when you invited like for instance, this is going back to oh god about 4 years ago. But anyway, one of my other friends, I obviously had a wedding, and I always said and they invited me to the wedding, and I couldn't go for some reason whatsoever. I can't remember now. And you know, sometimes you just because you're in the moment of your own wedding and you forget about things. No word of lie. I think I left off about 10 people that I should have invited to our wedding.
Mm.
And then when I put it on Facebook about our wedding, I thought, oh crap. Do you mean so? It's like I didn't mean to put it on Facebook to point out you weren't invited, you weren't invited. I just, when you just do it and you think, oh, I should have invited them, but
Mm.
I think I've I've seen other friends do weight loss, and promoted their weight loss on Facebook, and I think it's amazing. That kind of stuff I think is rewarding for other people.
Yeah,
I love it when people show. I've got a friend who has a son who's autistic, and she's she's a remarkable mother, and she promotes how she does stuff with her kids, and but she doesn't make it look easy. You know what I mean? It's like it's she makes it aware that life isn't all green and roses, but she works hard to make it as good as it can be. I'd prefer to see the people fighting for their weight loss and people trying to get the best out of their thing, just like you and I, Matt. Do you know what I mean? We're both in that same kind of boat. Like in my eyes, I think we're both in that mindset. But I'd rather see that than see a Karen.
yeah. I tried on my own personal page talking about autism and stuff, and I tried doing a separate group a long time ago. And my sole intention was to help others understand. Even if we had a bad day and you put something out, like you said earlier, it's not a good day, I'd never go to exploit what's gone wrong, but just to be able to express it should be okay to do under those circumstances. And I'd created a group to share things, um, hoping people would talk about things, talk about experience, even if they don't understand. I'd much rather have someone say that I don't understand. Can you tell me again? Can you explain it a bit better? But I'd rather have that than the chit chat behind me and all the false. And that's what happened. So I gave up. And this is why I don't talk about it so much, because it got to the point where there were select fews were just like, oh, Matt knows it all. Matt's saying this. Matt's moaning again. No, I wasn't. It's a case of putting it out there, like the freedom of speech type
Yeah,
thing. It wasn't moaning about autism. It wasn't moaning about this particular person or that particular person. It's for conversation. It's a community to get understanding. You got to be able to reach out, and to
yeah,
reach out, people got to stop thinking negatively about the person reaching out. Stop thinking blaming them, blaming them, blaming them. You're not. You're actually trying to do the right thing and share the group information, because we always said for us, everyone needs to be on the same boat. Everyone needs to work together, and that didn't happen. And because it didn't happen, it kind of ruined everything for us. Not that I've said that to them, and they deny that anyway because they wouldn't want to be put in that situation, but it did. That's just being honest. That's not moaning, that's complaining, that's straight down the line. That's what's happened to us. So I think it's good, it's fine to see conversations on Facebook, but maybe it's a group sessions because I set it aside as a group thing, just like the Matty's Media one that you suggested to me to do, as a separate thing away from my own to have individual things. I tried it and yeah, it didn't work. I'll put a few things out there, but you got to have the interaction to make things like that work. Right,
yeah.
I think,
Well, really quickly on that matter, I think that the main issue with people who legitimately want to reach out now is the main issue is there is freedom of speech, but there is also millions and millions of who think that it's like if they walk down the street and they saw you and you said the exact same thing that you just put on there, they
mm,
go, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." Because they're behind a keyboard, they're like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, mate, just grow the and talk nicely to people because it's, yeah,
yeah, I think it also highlighted, how can I put this, that despite us all having our own views, I think over the years you see and learn things that perhaps other people who got, I'm not going to call it issues, but certain things they might have and they probably don't recognize. And I see things in certain people now, and I just think, I recognise that, but I wouldn't tell them. Maybe I should do. I don't know, but some of them again wouldn't be approachable anyway, and that's not um, to be negative, because I think in recognition should be a positive step that you know why something's hard or why something's doing it, and the fact it should make others willing to be able to say, okay, that's fine. You got autism, you got ADHD, you got this, that. How can we help? And that should be it.
There
You
is
know,
one thing that I'd think I would love to bring up is the fact that the water firms across the whole of the UK, they are they're putting the hose pipe bans on, which fair play, it's hot weather, but there's leaks across the whole of the UK, and these are now independent private companies which are owning this, apparently the water, and they're not fixing the leaks as fast as they should be. And
it's
even though
not
the
just
leaks
fixing
aren't,
the leaks; is they haven't put money into the infrastructure to fix the pipes before the leaks happen.
yeah,
And I think the other issue of this topic, if we're going in this way, is obviously the political side is stop building houses.
yeah, absolutely.
You
And
know,
and
put a
second
pause
thing,
on
stop the boats, and then we got a
it.
win-win.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up actually about Farage.
Sorry.
We could go on and on about that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
The well, that's a topic in itself, isn't it? Yeah, again, he's making it all about himself, in my opinion. All about the boats is like other stuff for me with reform.
Oh,
Going back to social media, it's a social media stunt to
yeah.
get support.
You know,
If Labour started saying, "Are you telling me reform people would jump over just because of them saying that?"
wasn't it? So since our last show, Nigel's resigned
Yeah,
as
MP.
MP, yeah, and he's running for it again just to prove a point.
Exactly. It's
And
not just to prove a point, it's also to distract from his investigation against him.
yeah,
See, the amount of posts I see, old Labour corrupts Labour this or Conservatives are corrupt. I'm sorry. Um, so much money is going behind the scenes of reform. It seems, I'm not there. But I was just reading like the GB News is like millions and millions in debt and might have to struggle there and things like this. And I just kind of think I'll go back to the fact that if you're going to moan about one, you can't. You either don't moan about one because your party's doing it, or you moan about both.
yeah.
You know,
I,
just tell me the good stuff. I've put on my Facebook a couple of times, hey, reform users, supporters, tell me something good. I've had nothing.
well,
Again, going back to the opening the conversation, just as a public conversation, nothing more than a conversation, not moans, not digs, just a conversation. I get stop the boats.
well, see, I've always been um, a reform supporter to push the agenda forward because I do think it's a danger for the UK. However, in my honest opinion, I've I've got a lot of I had a lot of support for Nigel Farage um, back in the day. Obviously, when he was in UKIP, he put a lot of passion behind that. Um, Tommy Robinson's had a lot of passion for the same kind of thing. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, but you can't pick and choose. And I've the the difference is Tommy's never stopped and he's never cut off to move on. Where I don't understand Nigel Farage saying,
Leave means leave.
yeah, it's like,
So when he's quit, he's left.
yeah, and it's like
But
you
this
fought,
this is this is what I keep saying. The contradictory. Now I've used this. with about reform. It's we can all talk Labour Conservative as well, of course. There's so many contradictives. The 350 million big red bus that's supposed to save the NHS when we had Brexit. Where's that gone? What's happened to that? You get the post of saying I'm voting for my grandson when they was acting for the general election, but they don't want people of 16 to vote. So
Yeah,
that's a contradictory to me because you're getting senior people saying I'm voting for my grandson without speaking to your grandchildren, knowing their views and opinions, and the
yeah.
fact that they didn't want grandchildren to vote. I'm sorry,
Uh,
but that's a contradictory in itself as well. The
I think,
money situation, you can't complain about others for money when you're being investigated yourself. Um,
yeah.
I'd
I
just
mean,
say keep it political, keep it about the parties, keep it about what's right for the country.
yeah,
You talk about the European thing. Nigel was the UK representative in the European Fund. He was the
yeah,
lowest, despite this big passion of his, he was the lowest attendance person to that. The only times he went was enough times to get paid.
yeah.
That's how much passionate he really was about it.
The thing is with him, what got me was I was all behind him leading reform because he had the power and he had the people behind him to get him into Parliament to make this happen. And he's kind of just shit on it by going, look, I am an MP, but I'm going to resign as MP, and you can vote me back in.
Yeah.
But that's going to cost more money from taxpayers.
Exactly, and
So
also they're saying like, "Oh, reform with new ideas." There's more new people in the Conservatives now than there is like and sort of reform. Most of the reform bench is old Conservative people who a lot of reform complained about. Again, just contradictory. So there's probably a newer bench in the Conservatives now than any other one. But
definitely,
there we go. So, okay, let's finish that one because maybe, political ones can go so many things and we can look at each party's good and bad, of course. But, the reason I kind of highlight reform is because so many jump on their bandwagon. But in fairness, I think their votes are going down. They are losing people. And I think others should start asking why rather than just sticking with saying for the sake of it. Stop using the boats because even if Nigel got in, there's still rules and regulations that he cannot control. And it's one of those is people being stuck onto boats and sent over here. Unless they're going to shoot them, there's not a lot else. Yes, you can say I'm going to deport them, but that costs millions of money. There's a lot more to it than just Facebook posts with words on.
yeah. I
Mm.
mean, I do struggle to see how it's legitimately okay for this to happen still when we have to get a passport to go to France.
Did you see that post I shared about the home bay reform?
No, no.
If you, that they so I was going to change subject here, weren't we? The home bay reform people, they put these two pictures up. I don't know if I can find it quickly, of some work, litter clearing that they're supposed to have done. Okay, so and then they're supposed to have carried out cleaning along the pathway and post this gate. So
Oh, yes, I
you've
remember
got
you.
this gate. I don't know if you see it. So you had this gate and this path in all here, like this, and they're supposed to off and finish the job to make it look like this. This is great, great, well done, yay, clever lads. Okay, now the problem being is if I make them a bit smaller, I don't know how clear it is on your screens. It's a AI image. There's a car in the background. This car here, roundabout. It's still there in the after photo.
Yeah, I can't see
The
it with my
hedge, the
screen
hedge,
closed.
is perfectly green. Basically, they've used AI to say they've done a job.
Yeah.
The car hasn't gone around the corner. They've painted the post. They've resurfaced the path, literally resurfaced it, and that all went up. This is what I'm saying, and I've said this before. It's the fact that they're using full stuff and just pumping it out there, and they do have the highest budget and pumping off the social media, which is why people jump on it, because they all think, yeah, great, well done, or they use the boat things or whatever, voting for this reason or that reason. So, which is why I'm a bit skeptical. I'd rather just see something less true and honest than something just put out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we'll do we'll skip anything else and just do the. Are we going to do past the
Yeah,
plots
sure.
one? Yeah. Who's starting? I can't remember. I've lost the plot.
Well, I'll start this time if you like.
Go on then. And just for those not seen this before, if you're still with us, basically we just have a 1 minute story, just to highlighting Michael's storytelling ability there. So I'm just going to stop watch. So it's 15 seconds each, twice, and a made up story for a minute. Okay, go.
So Lisa went to the shop on this sunny Tuesday morning. She stepped into the shop and picked up the first plant she found.
The plant, or was it a vegetable? She had to decide, should she put it as a rose or put it as a potato to grow for the future food industry?
She put it in her basket, and without thought, she left everything else at the back of her mind and went to check out and paid for this one item. She left the shop and got in her car and drove home. She went to a garden and
then she realised she might as well keep it in the basket. So she filled the basket with the dirt. And she got now a creative house garden design for her own. And yes, it was a lovely hydrangea after all everything. So it reached the sky, it blossomed well, all in a little basket. There we go.
Then it
it's finished, it's gone, the minute's up, we've gone overtime.
Sorry.
It's getting carried away, that one. But anyway, if you've got any ideas or if you'd like to join us on the video chat bar, let us know. Obviously, please feel free to like, subscribe to the Woodhouse Stories, or you can find me as well. And yeah, so thank you very much. Let us know if you've got any ideas as well. Thank you very much, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Surviving Anarchy. Available now. They thought they'd found paradise. An island off the UK coast. The only place legally authorized to have no laws at all. Anarchy Adventure Park. Unlimited drink. Unlimited drugs. Unlimited freedom. A group of friends arrived, ready to lose themselves in the ultimate weekend. Waiting for them was a twisted, sadistic host who turns fun into a fight for existence. Cameras don't just take photos, they fire bullets. A maze of mirrors where paranoia twists your best friends into cold-blooded killers. And the grand banquet, served hot, made from the flesh of those who didn't survive the first round. Choose. Kill your captured friend or burn alive together. In the middle of this nightmare, love blooms where it shouldn't. No rules, no laws, no escape. Surviving Anarchy. Available now.